Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. I haven't posted in like a couple of months, I think. The month of May has just been extremely busy, and even though I just kept, of course, my tarot practice, I just have not found any time to do any videos. And I have been seeing on the YouTube space dedicated to tarot a lot of videos about the middle of the year of 2025. And even though I don't feel like doing the tarot tag, mainly because I'm still very early in my tarot practice and I am trying very hard to not collect decks. So my collection is actually not big enough to show a different deck for like 12 different tags, to be very honest. But I thought that what I could do, especially since I have a feeling that I'm not going to be posting a lot of videos on this channel, that for today, for this mid-year, I could actually do a video that would recap the past 6 to 7 months in my tarot practice, showing you the decks that I have acquired in this period of time, and do a little ranking of them, but also just letting you know chronologically how I got into tarot, how my practice has evolved, and things like that. So I don't necessarily know at this point exactly what I will be presenting, but I'm just gonna start with the very beginning. I am still a very early tarot practitioner, let's say, because I just started to be obsessed with it in the autumn of last year, autumn of 2024. And for a while, I just decided to really stay in the space where I watch videos, I learn about it, without necessarily making any purchase, mainly because I was trying to have very low cost. I was in a moment of my life that was very, very difficult in terms of financial security. I was kind of ending a job and not sure at that point if I would have another job very quickly after finishing that job. As it turned out, I found a job almost immediately and there was no financial insecurity at all. But at the time, I was just being careful, let's say, with how much things I was buying for myself. But I was already getting obsessed with learning about tarot. And I have basically done my first tarot purchase on the 11th of December of 2024. So that's why I am saying that I will basically be presenting my practice for the past 7 months and not just 6 months, because I will just include also the month of December of last year, just to be very, very thorough in terms of how things have been and so on. But yeah, I just wanted to start by saying that after having watched enough YouTube videos and having learned from those YouTube videos already, and purchased my first deck, which was of course the classic Rider-Waite-Smith, which I can actually show at the same time. Ooh, I think I also have all of my stones in here because I have been setting up my balcony and have put away all the things that were on my altar for a while. So yeah, my Rider-Waite has been accompanied by a lot of different things here. But yeah, so this is of course the first deck I purchased, and I just started reading right away without having a particularly book or anything, because that deck didn't really come with any guidebook. And if it did, as you can see, it's actually in Spanish because I bought it while on Christmas holidays in the Canaries Island. So I started right away to just read with it based on the information I had learned on YouTube and online from just being obsessed for like several months about tarot and already having started to learn the system. So this is very much the first deck that I have purchased. It was a great deck to purchase, but to be honest, the artwork, is not my ultimate favorite. I have a feeling that I might come back to this deck at some point because looking at it now, it's still so familiar, and it is still to this day the deck I've used the most, since, it was really the one that I learned with. So it has this nostalgic feeling, and I'm pretty sure, I know I will never get rid of it. But yeah, it's, of course, now my practice has veered in a direction where I care a lot about the artwork, even more so because of the fact that I'm trying to be very, very specific about which deck I bring into my life, because from using this deck and using other decks that I'm going to show later on in this video, it is insane how using a deck very, very, very often is how you actually can read with it the most easily. Like the decks in my collection that I've used for non-stop for like a month or more than that are just now so easy to read, no need to look at any guidebook or anything. But the new ones that I just used a couple of times, I still have to look at the guidebook. I still struggle a bit. So you really have to make this personal connection with your deck. And that means using it again and again and again. And there's only so many years, so many days in a year. So you cannot just have that quantity. Like if you have more than 12 decks, let's say, then that means, I know that can sound very judgy, and I'm not here to judge, because I know that then there's a whole other aspect about collecting, having a collection of those beautiful pieces of art within a deck. And there are some decks that people own that are not necessarily to work with them. But at least I want all of my decks to be working decks. And so there's only so many that you should bring in a collection. And because I had already had this behavior in the past with other passions that I had, for example, makeup and things like that, I have decided for this one to be way, way more careful about the quantity of stuff I bring in, and to be very intentional. But anyway, so that was the Rider-Waite, which would be now ranked last out of all the decks I own, simply because outside of the nostalgia and personal feelings I have associated with it, I prefer the other decks I brought in. But before I get into this book that I have on the table since the beginning of this video, the second deck I also bought in the Canaries, the most impulse buy of the entire decks I'm going to show today, is the Soul's Journey Oracle, because I just had stumbled into this kind of spiritual shop that was half a gift shop, half spiritual, and beautiful shop. Like seriously, I also bought there those beautiful coasters made of proper stone, and they are beautiful. But anyway, I bought this one without knowing anything about it before, whereas all the other decks I had multiple time looked at some flip through, like really made a lot of important reflections into buying them. This one I was just like, ooh, I stumbled upon this store and it has all those decks and this one looks really nice. Like I just basically looked at the pictures and decided to get it. So for a while I was simply just using this and the Rider-Waite kind of together, even though they don't pair well, I would say now. But anyway, I also recently edged it myself in this beautiful kind of greenish gold, like old gold, trying to match this. And I think I've done a pretty good job. I don't know if it's like very visible. But anyway, this deck is beautiful. And I have 1, 2, 3. Wait, 1, 2, 3. I have 4 oracles in total in my collection. I love them all very much. I actually should have been thinking a bit more about the ranking. But yeah, I've used this one the most, once again, because it was the first. Why is the focus so bad right now? Okay, those cards are just too intense spiritually for the phone. Well, there's other flip-throughs of this deck, I'm sure. So anyway, you can just quickly have a little vision here. Some of the cards are weirdly like different style than others. But what is good about this deck is really the guidebook. The guidebook has very good messages. The text is really well written. And there's enough to like find sentences that really resonate with you. I don't particularly use the mantra, like it's really the text. Also, I don't care so much about the extra little sentences. I would almost prefer if the card only had the keyword and that's it. But yeah, I really like this deck. I haven't been working with it for a while now because of having worked with it so much. I think in the future I will pair it with another deck I will be showing, and I will be showing them together as well. But yeah, this is the second deck I bought also in December of last year. So now we're getting into further into my practice, where for a while I was simply using those two decks. And then after the Canaries, I went directly back to France, to my family for Christmas. And there I got even more crazy about tarot, like having had the deck, had not like solved my hunger for learning and for getting even better at reading the cards. And I was like, okay, I need more than what I have already learned. And the main book in France that is recommended for learning tarot is this one. And I have studied the heck out of this book. I have read it entirely. It is based on Tarot de Marseille, so it's different from the Rider-Waite-Smith, but like the Rider-Waite-Smith, I think from watching the videos and all of that, and just from the cards, I can understand the meanings very easily. But this one based on Tarot de Marseille really goes further into kind of the interpretation, giving interpretation that are truly neutral and not necessarily positive for some cards and negative for other cards, just based on, you know, the illustration of the cards, where, I don't know, this card is usually like kind of understood in a negative way, for example, but this book actually gives neutral, also explaining, you know, like the whole cycle and why things are the way they are. In this book is where the knights are actually considered as at the end of the court cards, moving from one suit to another suit. It's also explaining kind of the order of the suit themselves, going from sword to cups to pentacles to wands, in the order of nobility of the time of historical time, you know, and kind of the different status, social status people had at the time, with the sword representing, you know, extreme nobility, and then the cups kind of I don't remember, but then the pentacles being the merchants, and then the wands being the poor people. Anyway, but yeah, I've studied this book so much that I basically, oops, sorry about the noise. I made my own guidebook. So this is what I've done, where I've taken basically the main sentences that were resonating the most from the book and copied them in here. It took me so long to make this, and I still have a lot of space because I thought I would basically complete this with further learning of tarot. I had placed like 2 pages for each card of tarot, and I was like, I'll just complete this over time. And I actually think that now, 7 months later, I would already be able, based on the other decks I have been using that give different interpretation of the cards, like, you know, kind of this ever learning of the meanings possible for each card, that I could kind of, you know, write more in there from you know, kind of the different decks I had. So yeah, I've basically done my own guidebook here. At the very beginning, I also like started putting different spreads that I could do, because at the beginning I was really using spreads with actual meaning for each card. Nowadays I kind of just always kind of wing it and not necessarily even have a question anymore, whereas at the time I thought that it was very, very important to always have a question, and the question to never be a close-ended question, so always an open-ended question, and that definitely makes it a lot easier at the beginning to learn tarot by just having those more, narrowing down the level at which you can interpret the cards. Nowadays, sometimes I just need a reading and I have a feeling, like I'm feeling something, and that's what I'm kind of feeling, letting the feeling take over when I pull the cards. That's what I did last night, for example. And I'm usually able to read the cards depending on my level of calm. The more agitated I am, the more I need to use the guidebook. But if I do that, then I leave the reading on the table and come back to it when I'm in a calmer place to do my own interpretation of them without using the guidebook. My usual, though, is usually to always first do my instinctive interpretation of them and then go in the guidebook if I want more information. But yeah, so I think that's all I wanted to say about my practice. All in all, I have been working with tarot only for 7 months, but I've been so obsessed with it, doing it almost every day, that I already feel very confident with my use of the cards. At some point I was really tortured by the question of who I was contacting when pulling tarot, because I think my favorite YouTuber on this space is Ukiyo. I really recommend you to go check her channel. She's still very small YouTuber here, but she really deserves to become big in the space because her videos are just so good. They are so meditative as well, and very aesthetically pleasing. She has a wonderful voice, a wonderful way of speaking. But yeah, so for example, Jay usually works with deities, and she usually works with them when working with tarot. Other people are just, talking to the universe and so on. In this book, you mostly ask yourself. You are kind of just having a discussion within your own person. And I think that's most likely the way I do it. But then sometimes when I really, really need a message, I'm over here, thinking, please, somebody help me. So I'm still kind of, I guess, finding myself in terms of what I believe in, what I don't believe in. I come from a family that's very rational, and where the spiritual part was never very, very big. But I feel it, I feel it. I think I'm a Taurus, and I feel a deep pull to nature. So if there's one thing that I sometimes really ask is the natural realm, Gaia. But yeah, so that was another side note. Let's just get into the part of the video that I'm sure most people are the most interested in, which is actually like my collection, my very small and, kind of very thought after collection. So I have already pulled my first 2 decks, bought in December. The next 2 decks I've bought, I think I bought them, no, there's 1 deck before those 2. I bought 1 deck in France, and that is this one. This is an oracle. It's called Mon compagnon spirituel, and it's from Cécile Detuillier. She has a YouTube channel as well. It is mainly from her channel, in French though, that I have learned tarot. And she has, her YouTube channel name is Blue Moon Baba Yaga. And I think she removed her playlist about learning tarot, but it was so great. She is so knowledgeable. She has been working with tarot for 40 years. She's great. If you speak French, I really, really recommend her channel. Even though nowadays I think she mainly do readings, you know, she's not necessarily doing videos to learn it or anything, but her channel has been also pivotal in my practice. So of course, when I learned that she was releasing an oracle, I was like, I want to support her. She helped me so much in my journey. I had been watching her videos so much that I needed to get her deck. And right now I know that she's working on another oracle as well. And this one is, it's a great one. It's so accurate. Sometimes I'm feeling a certain way. I pull one card. For example, the last card I pulled was this one, and it was so true in its meaning. So yeah, and their guidebook is very, very big. It's in French, once again, but there's a lot of information out there. It's separated into two parts. The first part in like this kind of character is the main message, and then there's an explanation in bolded here that goes on. So this is a watercolor deck. It's very simple. It's, I think, the most simple I have. It's mainly like a message and so on. It's also a very colorful deck, which on that, like, it fits my vibe. I have edged mine in a lot of different colors. I didn't know if I liked it at the beginning, but now it's growing on me. But yeah, so this is another great one. No regrets over here. No, not too compulsive buy either. I learned that she was coming out with an oracle, and I think I waited at least 2 weeks. I did get it a bit maybe quicker than I would have in a normal time, because I wanted to get it while I was in France, because it was a lot easier than getting it shipped to Finland. So yeah, I got it like the day before leaving. I was like, okay, I think I really want this, and so I did. But it's a great deck. It's, I think out of all the ones I have here, it is the harshest, though. Like, it will tell you the truth and be very, you know, not sugarcoating anything. It will make you question your choices and the way you're thinking. But yeah, a great deck, more for its guidebook and its messages really than the artwork. But here and there, I still feel compulsed to pull a card, even though I got it then, so in very beginning of January. So the fact that I'm still using it shows how much the complexity, the depth with which you can go in this deck, which is more deep than this one, where this one I feel like after, you know, a full month, I felt like, okay, I need to move on to something else. I have learned this enough. Like, if we were to compare tarot and oracles with books, this one I still feel like I haven't fully finished to read it entirely. All right, so those are 3 first decks. We're now in January. I think it's in February that I bought the next 2, which are the Wild Chorus Oracle and the Jupiter Power Tarot. These 2 I just had the biggest crush on. I felt so pulled to them. The Jupiter Power Tarot, I think it's such a great February deck when the light starts to come back, because it has this very monochromatic color palette. And it's like, for people like me that just are more for the warm seasons than the cold seasons and want to already start thinking about spring, even though it's February, and this is a great deck to start with. And yeah, I think this is the deck I have from the very start, from seeing it online. I just had such a deep connection with it, and it's the one I can read intuitively the best with as well. Just the images speak to me. And spoiler alert, this is for the past 7 months, my first. Like, in the ranking, this is my favorite deck in my entire collection. I love it too much. And maybe I could actually show why as well, but when you have them spread out, it just creates the most wonderful little color palette. It's very, very simple, but yet complex. The cards have feelings. It talks in feelings. I love it so, so much. And this is the deck that I have been pairing with the Soul's Journey Oracle. So let me show you that right now. But I didn't pair them for very long. I think it was when I was still trying to use Soul's Journey for a while longer. But yeah, I just... let me show you a couple cards. Up, together. But actually Soul's Journey also has quite a bit of green in it. And so I feel like color-wise they match. And then even in their messages, they also match usually. Like in here, having judgment with virtue of humility and temperance, I think makes quite a bit of sense. So yeah, I do like them together. I think this tarot deck, I probably couldn't have found a better pairing because it's such a monochromatic deck, you know, and I love to use it on my own. And to explain why Jupiter Power Tarot is my ultimate favorite, I had a trip in May alone, and it's the only deck I brought with me. It's the deck I just was like, this is the one I need to bring with me. Oh gosh, seeing them together though, it makes me want to work with them as a pair again. Also, since now it's been, you know, quite a while that I've worked with Soul's Journey. The Tower, Life is Opportunity, and Seven of Swords. That would be really interested. And then there's a little sentence on which it really refuses to focus is live deeply centered in love. Okay. One last one. Oh. Wow, wow, wow. Look at this color combination. So we have Five of Cups, delightful intimacy, and the Hierophant. I'm telling you that these two really work. So yeah, let's go on into the second deck I bought in February. So we are on now to 4 decks. So the next deck is Wild Chorus Oracle, and oh my god, this deck. It's also just a love story. I don't know if I would put it first as the oracles that I own, but I think it might take second place. Yeah, this might be my second favorite oracle, but I'll come back at the very end to rank them. But yeah, at the time of purchase, I think it had just came out, and at least on the YouTube space, it was not very notorious yet. I feel like now there's a lot more people that have discovered this deck and that really enjoy it. But yeah, the artwork is just everything. It's such a good artwork. Like it's such a beautiful deck. And I will also say, I don't think the cardstock is the most sturdy, but the smell of it and the smell of the book, it has this nostalgic feel to me, because I think when I was a kid, we used to have those small magazines for kids, and they used to smell like this. And It's so, so good. So yeah, I just love this deck. This was my favorite to kind of pull one card in the morning when I was doing daily pulls. Nowadays, I don't really do that anymore. I just do because I used to do daily pulls only with Oracle decks. And nowadays I usually do just like readings with both Oracle and Tarot or just Tarot. But yeah, there are different animal archetype in this deck. There's a lot of cards that are crows, and I think usually represent humans. And then there are some felines, a lot of penguins as well, and kind of polar regions animals, a couple of objects, and I don't know, honestly, those might be the most beautiful cards, the one that are non-animal. This is my favorite card of the entire deck. And I was so happy because I knew it was my favorite card before buying it, because I come from a region in France has a lot of cows, and cows have a very dear place in my heart. And it's exactly the way I would have portrayed it in a deck. And I actually got that card a lot when working with the deck. It's a card that showed up for me quite a bit. Because, it's sometimes a bit frustrating when you buy a deck because there's cards that you really like and then they never show up for your readings. But yeah, I've used this deck a lot, like maybe 2 or 3 months in a row. So I think I managed to get every single card, since I was using it every day. Not sure I got all of the crow cards because those are the main ones. And of course I got some repeats as well. So actually I'd like to arrive to the one I got a lot, but I don't know where it is. But I'm sure it's not, nobody minds having a full flip through of this deck. It's so beautiful. Oh, I think this one I actually never got. It's so beautiful. I got this one at the time where I was getting so many death cards and even tower cards, and yeah, it was a very tumultuous time. And all the decks were kind of synchronizing together to tell me like there's a transformation happening, girl. Let's see, might be the very final deck, very final card. This healing card is so, so, so nice. This is the one I was looking for. So this is the only card with a human on it, and it's about kind of an absurdity and being able to laugh of a situation that's not necessarily like, that you're struggling with, laugh at a situation you're struggling with. And for this card, I would like to actually show the message, because the guidebook of this deck is wonderful. It's a wonderful guidebook. Might be the second best guidebook out of all the oracles I'm going to show today. So I'm not going to read it out loud. I'm just going to make sure the text is readable. All right. And let you read it if you want. I really recommend reading it. There we go. But yeah, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful deck. I'm excited to come back to it whenever I feel like it's time again. And like this deck is definitely, what I was telling about me having a close bond with the natural world. This is the best natural focused oracle that I could have dreamed of. Like, I'm so glad that this deck exists. And I don't know why I put it back in the box, because I want to do a little show off of all the backs together. I haven't really necessarily found a tarot to pair it with though right now, but we'll see. It's just the artwork is so specific that I don't know. I would love the two sisters that made this deck. Where is there? Corina and Joe, to make a tarot. If they were to make a tarot to go with this deck, I would be so happy. especially seeing how much they worked on this guidebook and on the messages. Like, it would be an amazing experience. Okay, but so that was February, getting those 2 decks, which were like, yeah, a very good choice. And in February, I had actually purchased a lot of things, also outside of tarot and all of that. So I actually did a hiatus on my purchases. So in March, I didn't buy anything. And then in April is when I started my YouTube channel, I believe. And that's when I bought I bought a lot of decks, but I didn't open them all at the same time. But I basically did this huge order on tarot.nl where I bought I bought the same amount of decks as what I already had in my collection, basically. And that was all to get free shipping, but to be honest, who doesn't do that, of just adding more decks to get free shipping when there's a free shipping option? But yeah, so I bought all those decks together in April. And since then, I have not bought another deck. Or I did, but it hasn't arrived yet. And it's the Tiger Tarot. I'm so excited. I will do a dedicated video to it, even though there's already very good videos of this deck. But anyway, we are getting away. So I bought all those decks in April. But I knew it was way too much at once, especially seeing how I had worked with the decks I had before. I only had 2 tarots at this point and 3 oracles, you know? So once I was really tired of the Rider-Waite-Smith, I just used the heck out of the Jupiter Power Tarot. And that is also what I meant earlier, saying how important it is to work with your deck again and again and again and again. I think both of those decks I worked so long with, and they are the 2 that I just know by heart, you know. I just got at least half of the cards in a spread, and I think that's kind of what you should aim for. If, again, we compare tarot decks to books, I have read those two books at least 2 times each, you know? But so yeah, I got all those at the same time. I'm sorry if you can hear the laundry going crazy on the background. Hopefully it doesn't pick up too much. But the main one I wanted was the Ukiyo Romance Tarot, which I have many videos about, so I will not go into details. So I wanted this one, and then Forest of Enchantment and Hush were on my wish list since many months. So I was like, you know what, I'll just add those 2. I know I will love them. And then Portraits of a Woman was a deck that wasn't on my radar before, but was on the website. I looked at a flip through and I was like, yes, I want this. So we're going to go in order of which I opened them. So Ukiyo Romance Tarot is the one I opened in April, or beginning of April, like when I got the deck. I'm sorry, I've done a spread with it recently. So I'm gonna just flip a couple cards. I love the cardstock, and because of YouTube. This one is because of YouTube that I got to know it so well. I also dedicated a whole month to working with it, so I know it very well, and it's very, very close to the Rider-Waite-Smith. And I love the aesthetic of it, the color of it, everything. So yeah, this deck is my ultimate favorite and would replace the Rider-Waite-Smith for me in terms of practice. Like, the Rider-Waite-Smith now, I think, is just going to be my only collector deck, in the sense that I am not necessarily going to use it for my practice anymore, but I'm keeping it as a collector's item. And I'm realizing now I forgot to mention one deck, which is this one. It's not in its original box, so I think that's why I forget it. I got this deck when I was 9 years old. It's my very, 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 very first tarot and oracle deck. It's an oracle. And somehow, since I started working with tarot and oracles, I somehow cannot get it down. Like, I thought, you know, I know this deck very well since I used it a lot also when I was a kid. But I guess, like, my tastes in artwork and colors has not changed. has not changed a lot, and I just love the aesthetic of it, even though the guidebook is shit. But just I can't put it down, and it just pairs so beautifully with Ukiyo that that's also the reason why I keep using it, because I'm not entirely done having fun with the Ukiyo Romance Tarot. It's still one I want to play with every other week, I would say. But yeah, it's not the same style of artwork at all, but it has similar colors. And I couldn't have dreamed of a better Egypt style deck. I have put my own keywords on it to try to be able to analyze it without the guidebook. The issue is though, like the artwork, despite it being so nice, is not very instinctive, so I still somehow look at the guidebook even though I said it was shitty. Maybe I'll do my own guidebook one day about it, because I don't think I'll ever get tired of using this deck. But yeah, I love them together. It was my favorite beginning of spring pairing. And I have to say, even though, like, for example, the Jupiter Power Tarot, I also appreciate using it alone, even though aesthetically it's very pleasing to see it with the Soul's Journey. With the Ukiyo now, I think I prefer using it with an oracle, because it's so close to the Rider-Waite-Smith. I need more spice in the practice. I need more things that I need to interpret and not just read Rider-Waite, you know? So yeah, those are those two decks together. We're not going to continue because I think I already introduced this pairing also in a previous video when just doing kind of practice. Yeah, also out of all the decks I have, those are my favorite backs. Up. So we are now on to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 decks, of which 3 are tarots and 4 are oracles in my practice. The next deck I opened was Portrait of a Woman. This is my favorite oracle of this entire list. I'm still using this deck almost every day. And it also wins the best guidebook. And that's funny because there's not much in it. But oh my god, is it so on point. But this is a beautiful, beautiful deck. The artist, Elisabetta Trevisan, is a wonderful artist. I kind of wish I could see one of her exhibition now. But yeah, it represents a woman in every card. And there's just so much about the colors, about the expression, about the clothes of the characters in this deck. I recently got this one. And basically the guidebook is so good because I think Riccardo Minetti, who did other decks, because I love so much the guidebook, I actually checked for which other decks did he, you know, made the guidebook for. And I think he got really inspired by the artwork because for each card there's, you know, just 2 paragraphs, so that's why I mean there's not much. But oh my god, the sentences used are so impactful. They are so much resonating, and you have kind of an I am peaceful and then a visualization if you want to be peaceful but you're not. And the visualization is always based, like entirely based on the on the illustration of the card. So, for example, let's read I am gentle. Yeah, it's a short one too, so that works. I'll read it to you and you just look at the image. So for the description of the message, the touch of water can destroy a mountain, but it never pushes or hurts. We are not less if we do not shout or if we tread lightly over another's dream. We are not weak, neither we are surrendering our space. So this is the interpretation of what I am gentle mean. Now about I can be gentle. Visualize a touch turning into a caress, walking softly and soothing words. All comes together as one could not stay without the other. Breath. So that's kind of the type of messages you can find in the guidebook. Funnily enough, this one was not so much based on the interpretation, but I promise you that it is. For example, I'm going to try to find a specific card, and like that I can again show you the beauty of this deck and the colors of it. Well, I can do it with this one already. I already got this card. In the visualization, it was about bringing together elements that do not necessarily fit together. So for example, here we have this like fruit arch. In the background, there's this weird, half ceiling thing, and then the landscape, and then her outfit is also a bit crazy. So it's about putting together elements that don't necessarily fit together and make them harmonious. So that was the visualization where you can really just look at the card if it wants to focus on it, and visualize that card in your mind and kind of what it means, after also reading, of course, the interpretation of it. So yeah, beautiful, beautiful deck. I don't know when I'll get tired of using this one. Also, the cardstock is like this cardboardy one, but it's really nice. I don't know, I like it. I don't know if I've encountered like a cardstock I actually don't like. Or maybe there is this one. It's so sticky. They stick together so much. But yeah, beautiful deck. And I think those are equal with the Egyptian oracle about my love of the backs. Those are beautiful backs. Yeah, so this is the next deck I opened. After that, still in April. So in April, even though I mainly worked with this, towards the end of the month, I opened this one, and quickly after I cracked and opened Forest of Enchantment. And, Forest of Enchantment, like, it's very weird. I looked at the flip through and I was like, oh, this is a no-brainer. Of course, I'm going to like it because I'm very close to forest energy. I walk in the forest 3 times a day. I aged mine as well in this green. But weirdly, like the connection with this deck was more difficult than I thought, to the point where I regretted a little bit to buy it. And I don't know why. The guidebook is great. It's particularly great, I think, for people that start with tarot. And I wonder if that's the thing that was bothering me, that I need a more advanced deck. And this is a beginner's deck to me. It's also still quite close to Rider-Waite, even though it's not necessarily a Rider-Waite deck per se. I think also the court cards are really beautiful, especially the weavers. All of them are really nice. But yeah, I don't know. I am still working out my relationship with this deck. I've read with it, maybe 5 or 6 times now. Even more than that, probably. But like, it's been very accurate sometimes. But in my heart, I I don't know how I feel about this deck. The reason, like I was considering even though I haven't worked with it enough to fully make a final decision, but I was considering offering it to my mother, thinking that she would really like it. But one thing that stops me is this card. This is my favorite card in the deck. I got it at the moment where I really needed it. So, I have started to make an emotional connection with the deck. But compared to the Ukiyo and the Jupiter Power Tarot, it's just not on the same level at all. So for this reason, out of all the tarot decks I've presented, this would take last place. But I'm not done working with it. I'm not going to show too many cards because I think there is so many people that own this deck and have worked with it. So this was the next one. And then this month, or end of May, I finally opened Hush. I wanted to wait like autumn to open this deck. I just had it in storage. I had not even removed the plastic, not even made a flip through. But on 21st of May was my birthday, and I decided to not get any decks for my birthday because I just was overwhelmed already with all the decks I had opened in the month of May and April together. But I don't know, in the end I decided against waiting for autumn because this deck can also work, I think, now. It's still very connected to nature, and I think I needed the energy because I am still going through some issues in my relationship, and I needed it. One thing though, I don't know if it's for every deck, probably not. My box is so difficult to open. It's not made properly and it gets stuck. So just excuse me a second. There we go. So I'm not sure about the guidebook yet. This is my daily deck right now, because once again, comparing this one and this one, I kind of opened them feeling the same way, mentally and all of that. This one, I was like, meh. This one, right away, I was drawn to it. I wanted to work with it. I was like, tell me your secrets. And I think part of it is that it's not a right away. The guidebook is good, but not that good. Once you work with this, you're like, oh, wish that the message were this poetic and this subliminal. Is that a good word? Or is that a positive word? I'm not sure. But I wish the guidebook was slightly better. It's not a bad guidebook, but it's a bit basic for the level of the cards, which are so, there's so much meaning that you can put into them that I kind of wish the guidebook would be a bit more poetic in the sense of somehow managing to encompass all of the meanings of the cards. Another deck for which I love the cardstock. I don't know if I said that already. And yeah, it's so beautiful. I'm so glad because honestly, the Jupiter Power Tarot and the Ukiyo are not cheap decks, but this one is easily available. And I'm so glad that I am crushing on a deck that is not so high-end, because I'm like, am I a bougie person or what? And yeah, it's a deck that, as the name of Jeremy Hush says, is bringing a certain quietness. And I also, I haven't worked with it to really be able to read with it without the guidebook. So that's another reason why I would hope the guidebook would be better. Just like every single tarot deck I've worked with, the strength card has been coming up a ton in the past weeks. I don't know what it is with me and the strength card, but it's insane. I think it's only with this deck that I didn't get the strength card. For right away, Jupiter Power and Ukiyo, I got the strength card at least 5 times. And here it is. Oh my god. Okay, I call it and it is here. So yeah, here's my buddy. Anyway, so yeah, great deck. Let me show you that, because obviously since I'm not doing daily pulls anymore and that I'm trying more to work with pairs, I have been pairing it with the portraits of a woman. And it's kind of funny because the backs, I feel like, work quite well together as well. So let me show you how they look together. I'm still not entirely sure about this pairing. I thought in my head that they would pair better than they do, because I thought they were of similar color theme, but they are not. Only the backs are, but the cards of portraits of a woman are way more colorful. So yeah, but I think it still can work, you know? This is a great combo here. Temperance, I am healing, and the Five of Pentacles. I think they do work together when it's only 3 cards, but somehow that's kind of the setup I wanted every time I've been working with those 2 decks. And it's never the setup I end up with, because either 2 cards fall at the same time and then I have 4 and 1, or then 2 cards fall from Portraits of a Woman and then I have 2 cards from Portraits of a Woman, or then I ended up doing above, below, and then the sides as well. Well, that's another great one. Okay, they're vibing right now. They're like, yes, why haven't you done that earlier? Because it's true that I've just started reading for myself. I didn't do like a practice run because I thought they would work together right away. So yeah, I'm starting to reach the 1 hour mark, and I don't think I'm gonna edit this video because I'm not very good at it. And I think somehow there's not too many breaks, not too many repeats of what I've been saying. And also there's not enough viewers anyway for me to lose too much time in editing, because that's in editing that you can take so much. And that's where like I'm so admirative of like Jay Cuneo, that she puts so much work in her videos, and I mean most YouTubers do, so I feel a bit bad of being so lazy with it, but you know, that's how it will be. I'm doing those videos mainly for myself anyway, and seeing how my practice evolves. So yeah, we'll end with this one, 2 of Pentacles, I am creative, and the 7 of Pentacles. So let's do a little recap of everything. Oh my god, the laundry is like making everything vibrate. I wonder if like I moved it somehow and I'm a bit stressed. Is it still stable? So in 7 months, I acquired in total 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 decks, knowing that I have 10 in total with the Egyptian oracle that I already had. If I were to do a ranking of the oracles in this list, I think so first place goes to Portraits of a Woman here, second place goes to Wild Chorus, and then I think it's equal between those two. I can't choose. I don't think any of my oracles deserve to be... Ah, shit, I forgot the oracle. Well, let's put our Egyptian oracle last, even though, like I said, I can't put it down. So, no, you know what? we're not putting it last, we're putting it in third place. So 1, 2, 3, and 4 together are those two, because yeah, the other 3 are just taking over. And once again, this ranking is just how I feel right now. 3 months ago, it would have probably looked different. For the tarots, Jupiter Power is of course the first one. I think Ukiyo is remaining in second place because I still know it better now than the Hush, but the Hush is quickly becoming a favorite. So Hush Tarot is third. I mean, I don't want to put Forest of Enchantment last because I still like this deck. I just have a complicated relationship with it, and the Rider-Waite should be last because I'm not using it anymore. So it would be 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And that's all the decks I own, you guys. And if I am to give one recommendations out of my entire collection, it would be Jupiter Power Tarot. It's still, well, it would be Jupiter Power Tarot and Portraits of a Woman, but those are not beginner's deck at all. Neither Portraits of a Woman is also not a beginner oracle. If you want a beginner oracle, go with Soul's Journey. If you want a beginner tarot deck, either go with the Rider-Waite or, even better, the Forest of Enchantment. Alright, that is all from me. Thank you for watching if you're still there. And catch you in the next one, whenever that might be. Bye!